but don't deny the importance of systemic health and reducing allostatic load and imbalance. Because if there's imbalance in the system, your body's not going to be able to sustain the health in specific areas. So there are indicators of allostatic load. This is where we're going to get with the next study. Is there are compounds in the body called cytokines that are inflammatory markers, right? The higher the cytokine level in your body, the higher the inflammation in your body. You can kind of measure allostatic load and inflammation by measuring the number of cytokines that are present in your blood, okay? So what we did with Aspen Labs was we did a safety study. So we continually improve the product, right? And every time you improve the product by changing the process, in order to maintain registration in countries and be able to sell the product, you have to prove safety. So we were doing another safety study, but we saw that they had some capabilities of measuring allostatic load. So in addition to safety, we wanted to look at, hey, what is the allostatic load of the individuals that are on our product? And how does it change with time? So we did a 30-participant trial over 16 weeks studying the safety and resilient aspects of allostatic load. So there were 3 compounds, particularly around allostatic load, that we measured. One, glutathione, we talked about already. And glutathione helps to reduce inflammation, right? Interleukin-1 beta, IL-1 beta, and IL-6 are cytokines that are representative of inflammation, systemic inflammation in the body, okay? If you have elevated levels of cytokines, you have more inflammation in your body, okay? So, from baseline to 60 days, you see a 16.6% decrease in IL-1 beta and a 2.6% decrease in IL-6 with an 11% increase in glutathione. Okay, here's what's crazy after the 60 days. Between 60 and 120 days, you have almost an 87% decrease in IL-1 beta.
Wow,
and almost a 10% decrease in IL-6, with now a 3% increase in glutathione. So this will illustrate the point that we're talking about. In that 60 to 120 day period, the acceleration of the production of glutathione slows. Why? Because the inflammation has decreased to a point where it's no longer needed. Right? That's that automodulation effect. We're no longer just dumping things in and forcing the body to create glutathione. It's creating it as needed to reduce the inflammation in the body. Look at those total changes in systemic inflammation. 89% decrease, almost a 12% decrease in IL-6. IL-6 is closely tied to cardiovascular inflammation and issues like myocarditis, right? These challenges that people are having post-COVID, IL-6 is a major player there, right? So a huge opportunity for people to really address those challenges that they're having post-COVID. 89% decrease in IL-1 beta. IL-1 beta is a principal marker of systemic inflammation. You're nearly decreasing systemic inflammation by 90%, which is massive, right? When you talk about inflammation times time equals aging, if I can reduce one of those things by 90%,
That's strong.
right, I decrease my aging by effectively 90%.
So could you say then, hopefully in the future, we could look at metabolic age versus actual with results from ASEA product?
Yeah, we're looking at it. We got studies coming.
And wasn't there a study dealing with COVID specifically, with cytokines? I remember reading something, I remember that word in association with that.
Yeah, so what happens is cytokines are launched via the immune system when exposed to external stress, right? External threats. So the virus would enter. One of the side effects of the virus is a cytokine storm, right? These cytokines cause oxidative stress to try and kill the virus, but they're harmful to the tissue, human tissue around the virus as well. And so one of the things that was causing the cardiovascular inflammation in the myocarditis was the cytokine storm that was happening post-infection, right? And in fact, most of the mortality around COVID was not the COVID virus itself, but it was the immunological response of the body to the virus, that cytokine storm causing pulmonary and cardiovascular issues because of the cytokine elevation.
Mm-hmm.
If you can take and reduce cytokines, you reduce the inflammation caused by the cytokines.
Yeah. Got it.
Wow.
Anecdotal, I want to be clear when I'm anecdotal versus with data. A lot of the people here at ASEA that were on ASEA didn't have much of a challenge with COVID, right?
Wow.
So, again, anecdotal. I'll be clear when I have data, but it's just anecdotal. But it seemed as though a lot of people here at ASEA that were on ASEA didn't have a huge challenge when they did contract the COVID virus.
I got a silly question.
Yeah.
So what does, I'm just thinking about this as you're talking in terms of COVID, what does ASEA look like under a microscope? Is there any vibration, anything moving? Anything
You won't be able to see it because they're so small. It would take an electron scanning microscope in order to be able to see the actual molecules. It's going to look similar to that of a saline solution.
Interesting. Okay.
So just summary on the Aspen Lab study, 120 days. You guys remember we were talking down at the plant how we encourage people to be at least on 90 days to 120. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
It's slow change, but that's why, right? You see the difference between that 60 and 120 day mark versus the first 60 days. Yeah, there's benefit there and there's some physiological changes happening, but really in order to get into balance, it takes time.
Yeah, you can't take 21 years and
Undo it in 2 weeks, right? Yeah. So really the summary is not only was the product proven safe during the study, but the people in the study became more resilient to stressors, right? As evidenced by the decrease in cytokine and the increase in glutathione. The reason it's capable of doing this is this concept of, again, here it is, energy, right? We're going to wrap up with energy. We started with energy, we'll end with energy. The redox signaling molecules provide a bioidentical energy to what's created within the mitochondria of the cell. These molecules are the exact same molecules that are being made inside your body, you just don't make enough of them. And so when you introduce them to the body, when we talk about bioavailability, it's because the body knows exactly what to do with them right away. They're absorbed instantly because the body recognizes them as self, right? Because they're indistinguishable from what's created. And what that does is it boosts the system's ability, that inner doctor, to be able to continue to maintain health and wellness in the body. Because it's playing at the genetic level, because it's playing at the cellular level, with an energy currency that the cells understand innately, rather than a protandem, and I say protandem not to pick on protandem, but just because it's the example you used, focusing on playing an individual key on the keyboard, right? Think about health and wellness as a beautiful musical piece, right? There are chords, notes, all being played together to create health and wellness. What traditional supplementation has been about is by forcing products into you, you force the body to play a specific key better or louder, right? Well, health and wellness is more than just one key or one pathway. It's everything. Because we are at the genetic and cellular level, using bioidentical energy, redox is capable of playing across the entire keyboard, right? So what it looks like is, okay, here's Protandim, right? Here's LifeWave, here's Juice Plus, right? Name your products. All great products, all doing what they say on a single key, right? What you want is to be able to play the entire keyboard, and that's what redox does, right?
That was good.
So there's those keywords again.